Today we have Vikram Rajan with us today. How are you, Vikram?
I'm well, Gabby. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Life is great. So glad. Hope you had a great holiday as well.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. So you can be found at videosocials.net. Tell us how Video Socials came to be.
Out of necessity. So we have another arm of our company for thought leaders and subject matter experts, lawyers, accountants. Our same of clients and members, they need to stay top of mind with their referral relationships and their potential clients. And content is king. So at Phone Blogger, we actually interview our clients over the telephone and turn what they say into written articles, optimized for the web. It's their words, their personality. And then we've been doing that for a number of years, but 2017, Facebook made a major decision to start prioritizing video posts over regular posts. And then LinkedIn in 2018 followed that.
Mm-hmm.
And Google has been owning YouTube since 2006. And only recently have they started prioritizing video clips in their search engine result pages. And so we started having to tell our clients that they got to get on video.
Mm.
And so we started recommending different videographers for them to go out and kind of spend an afternoon and get some video done. And they would hem and haw and not make the time for it. And it wasn't the most comfortable option for them, let alone budget-wise wasn't most comfortable. And so we wanted to figure out a way to keep it convenient and comfortable and hopefully even fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we created video blogging clubs, and we now host 2 or 3 of them every day, and we have over 130 members in about a dozen states. And that's essentially what Video Socials is. It's a series of video blogging clubs on Zoom where members give and get feedback on each other's presentations. We record each presentation as an episode of their video blog, 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
And then it's coupled with an app that we created for automation, where they're able to push a button and a headline gets branded right onto their video. Plus they can push a button and Alexa will transcribe their video and send it to them as a blog article. Plus it gets captioned right onto the video. And we're automation partners with YouTube and Facebook Live and LinkedIn. So when they're ready to push the right button and it posts the video for them automatically. And our members get to know each other well enough where they start liking and sharing each other's videos, and that multiplies each other's outreach and referral relationships. And that's been going on since February of 2019.
Okay. So yeah, it's like you said, a little club and you can learn from each other. I feel like it also helps. I know I'm video impaired and I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. So I feel like kind of helps those people to learn and also feel like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who doesn't really know how to do these sort of things.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes, staring into the little black hole of a camera and pretending someone's there. Now they don't have to pretend. They can actually talk to people that they become friends with and have good business relationships with. So it's fun, and very often they're learning from one another, not only in terms of presentation skills, but also substantively, which is kind of a nice side benefit. But it's a camaraderie, but it's also a marketing habit, discipline, accountability, all that stuff.
Right. So I don't mind doing the videos. So do you all help also like with editing and stuff too?
Yeah.
Is that also discussed?
So in terms of logistics, in terms of lighting, microphones, that kind of stuff happens peer-to-peer through our association, so essentially. And then the Brander app can take care of a lot of the editing aspects automatically.
Okay. And so what are some of the obstacles you see some of your peers struggling with, maybe with managing like their energy and trying to make videos and be lively on there, but that can be kind of difficult if you're not feeling so lively that day.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's like anything, it's a balancing act to create a habit where, it's so easy to fall out of a habit, especially when it's not something urgent, where you don't have to go to the gym today, nothing bad happens. You don't have to create a video blog this week or today, nothing bad happens. I mean, you keep up the bad habit and then bad stuff happens, but anything terrible in that instance. Plus, when you keep up the habit, it's so easy to make that habit into a rut and essentially get bored with it and fall into a routine where you're just kind of going through the motions. And kind of like what you said, Gabby, the passion, the energy doesn't come through that way.
Right.
And we feel it's so important, even more than what they say, it's how they say it. There's another adage, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And so for us, it's really vital for our members to just be themselves and be passionate and caring of who they are and how they are, and just to be genuine. And so I think it helps having that camaraderie because everyone's able to feed off one another and kind of push each other. It's kind of like a Peloton. It's still a solo sport, but you're virtually together and you will push each other to go that extra mile. And you could always take a bike and go out on your own. And sometimes that has its own advantages, like doing video blogging on your own. But there's something to be said about doing something together and being able to help each other. And that keeps each other's energy up. It's amazing, Gabby, where we have members sometimes who come on who they don't have the energy, or they're not literally in the good look for a video, but they just want to come on and support the team, so to speak. And they really do want to be part of the club because they develop a community. They're seeing each other on a week-to-week basis, being involved in each other's marketing, asking each other questions, recording topics based on that feedback and topic and questions. And sometimes, this cohort, that club, become relationships where, we hardly ever see that many people on a week-to-week basis.
Right.
Including our own family, extended family usually, let alone other business associates. So this becomes a really, really close camaraderie, closer and faster than we thought actually would happen, because we knew there would be some type of community, but it really clicked together, and it's kind of fun to see it happen.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of community, like you said. It's not only just about video, but because video is live and you're looking at each other. I feel like it's something so different and unique versus your boring, just basic Zoom meetings or anything like that, or just typing all day on your computer. I feel like just that face-to-face interaction can really stem some really, deep relationships over time.
Yeah. People look forward to it. And then, of course, they have something to show for it. So it's a little bit of networking, but then they literally have their video done. So it's video blogging together, fun and done.
Right. So in creating a community, what does then being a conscious business leader mean to you?
It's for every one of our members, it's so important for them to really tap into why they're doing what they're doing. And without that concept and that consciousness, it's, like I said before, they fall into somewhat of a rut, and it's so easy to kind of lose that meaning, as well as it just becoming rote and logistics, where they're just answering frequently asked questions and kind of the sake of it. They've said this before, and it could be even found before sometime, because they're an attorney, they're an accountant, they're a coach, a consultant. The answers are out there in Google already, maybe not in their perspective and not in their style, which is the whole point of it. So it's for them to be able to see why they're doing it and working on themselves and on their business, not just in it.
Okay, I love that. I really do. And so we talked about your family as well. And so how do you balance that community versus your community also at home? How do you balance, taking care of both of those?
Yeah, well, I work from home, so that's always a challenge. Thankfully, my kids are young enough where they're in daycare and pre-K.
Okay.
So logistically, they can be out of the house, so that's wonderful.
Yes.
But I try to carve out time where the 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. hour, I try to stay off the phone and kind of dedicate as much of that focused time to the family, because it's easy for me, and I think for most people, to just be in front of a screen all day long.
Right.
Big screen, little screen. And that's not cool. So I like to be somewhat present and somewhat focused. It depends on the day, but there's very little emergency that can't wait 2 hours. Because all right, 8:30, 9 o'clock, the kids are going to start going to sleep. All right, maybe I need to answer some emails. If clients, something went wrong, all right, let me help them. But I'm relatively used to it. And we have wonderful staff and wonderful support team. So they're tremendous. So from that aspect, it's not all on my shoulders. I'm a huge believer in that leverage of delegation, and everyone is able to work together at my company, and we're virtual. We've always worked from our home offices across the U.S. So it's it's relatively easy if you want to make that balance happen to some degree, where you can carve out the time. It just takes a little bit of discipline.
Right. So from that personal experience, do you think then in your company that you kind of make sure there's also that culture where working from home, we understand you have, personal lives and things you need to attend to?
Yeah, we kind of have this philosophy where we don't really care if they're working at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m.
Okay.
Not that I want them to work at 3 a.m., but so long as they get work done and it's on deadline, they're W-2 employees to keep things legit and legal. But very often they're starting off as 1099 contractors, freelancers, and they have that mentality of getting the work done.
Okay.
And we develop those systems and structures, so it's pretty easy.
Okay, so there's the employees, but then Tell us about the different platforms that people can also be featured on. There's Roundtable and the live podcast, which I've never had heard of podcast. So please tell us more about
Okay.
that.
So yeah, People Love Clapping is a revitalization, a rebirth of my podcast as a video podcast, a
Okay.
vodcast. And so the purpose of the vodcast, People Love Clapping, is how business groups and communities grow. And I did that really as a selfish motive in two
Mm.
ways. One, I find myself running and growing a business community, and I don't really necessarily know what I'm doing all the time.
Mm.
And I figure other people have kind of figured it out. So let me learn from those business leaders, because maybe they're only a chapter ahead, or maybe they're 10 chapters ahead.
Okay.
Either way, or maybe they're younger than I am, but they come in terms of growing a community, but there's still stuff that I can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I can learn from them, hopefully others will be able to learn a nugget or two as well. So every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, it premieres as a LinkedIn Live and a Facebook Live. And then the episode eventually makes its way over onto YouTube, and then Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, I want to say, SoundCloud. So it's relatively easy to find People Love Clapping.
Okay. And then the Roundtable, that's separate as well. That's a different.
So the Roundtable are the video blogging clubs. Very often
Okay.
I call them roundtables because no one knows what a video blogging club is. It's a phrase my business partner and I made up. So we call them video roundtables.
Okay, and then how can people be featured on there? Do they just reach out to you through your website, or what's the best way to do so?
Yeah, we're always open to guests. We want people to come on and experience it for themselves. They may or may not need a video blogging club and our social media automation. Maybe they know someone who is great for, or maybe for themselves, it'll benefit. And so they can go to videosocials.net. In the top right corner, it can say, be our next guest or be our free guest. And we host 2 or 3 of them every day. So it's relatively easy to slot themselves in. And they're purposely small. They're 45 minutes, at most 55 minutes, so less than an hour always, but preferably 45.
Okay.
7 to 10 professionals. And as I mentioned, it's really for that everyday attorney, accountant, coach, consultant, someone who considers himself or herself a subject matter expert, a thought leader. So it's that kind of person who would fit in. And it would be great even as a guest for them to share a nugget of knowledge, or at the very least, who they are, what they do, and preferably why they do what they do. Okay. That makes it way more interesting. And that gets recorded for them as a video blog, and then they're able to test drive our automation and see how video socials can help their word of mouth marketing.
Okay, perfect. And I hope people definitely, I know they'll be on here and want to be interested in being on it for sure. And so just real quick too, to finish up, can you just go in a little bit deeper of why your why is so important just in life? Why is the why in life so important for people?
Why is my why, or why do I think the why is important for others?
Why you think the why is important? I know that sounds like a tongue twister, but
I think that's the driving force. I think it's a centered force. I think that's the foundation and the essence, that if we forget why we're doing what we're doing and why our clients are choosing us, then it's so easy to get off the mark and lose the priorities and start being distracted. And as creative entrepreneurs, it's very easy for us to be distracted with the idea of the week, idea of the month. And so coming back to that why are we doing this in the first place, beyond the money even, that can center us to kind of have that passion to go forward and do more and take on more and also help more.
Right. That deeper meaning has, I think, adds longevity to not only the business, but to life.
Correct.
Absolutely. So for guests, if you want to be on the video blog, or the blog, vodcast, and just learn about that now on videosocials.net, correct?
That's the easiest way. On hand selecting the guests to interview. If someone runs a business group or a business community, I'm always looking forward to interviewing them. We're kind of scheduled out till about March, I want to say March of 2021 in terms of guests for People Love Clapping, but they can get hold of me on videosocials.net. In the bottom right-hand corner is a chat box. It's not a bot. It's not a robot. It goes straight to my cell phone. So I'm always open to chatting with anyone that comes on the website and needs help or wants to grab my minute and kind of get them slotted into whatever opportunity we can help them with.
Perfect. I love that direct contact to your cell phone. I hope more people take that tip in their businesses. Don't just have to go.
I know after this comes out, I will be so busy I may need someone else to answer it. But until then, I'll be answering it.
Perfect. Well, Vikram, Rajan, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Gabby.